Silent but deadly, that sinking feeling, and could you outlive this thing found in the rainforest? Today, we're back at it, posing a serious question. How long could you survive? All right, let's dive right in. Number 10, freezing temperatures. Exposure to freezing temperatures, especially without proper protective gear, can have severe consequences on the body. Exposure to extreme cold triggers a series of responses aimed at conserving heat. Initially, blood vessels constrict to minimize blood flow to the skin and extremities, causing pale skin and numbness to the fingers and toes. Shivering is the body's next defense, generating heat through muscle activation. However, this mechanism has limits. That's when fatigue sets in. If the core body temperature continues to drop, it leads to hypothermia, a medical emergency where the body loses heat faster than it can produce. Next, the dreaded frostbite, a condition where the skin and underlying tissues freeze, can occur. In extreme cases, this can lead to the formation of ice crystals within cells, damaging blood vessels and tissues. Obviously, survival in freezing temperatures depends on factors like clothing, body fat, and the cold severity, but it is crucial to try and stay warm and seek shelter in cold environments. Number 9, wild mushrooms. Certainly not all mushrooms are bad. In fact, some like lion's mane and cordyceps, for example, have been shown to have quite a bit of health benefits. But ingesting wild mushrooms, particularly the deadly Amanita phalloides, commonly known as death cap, poses a severe threat to human health. But the onset of badness typically occurs within a critical window of 6 to 12 hours after consumption. And there are a cascade of events within the body, most notably causing extensive damage to the liver and kidneys. The toxins present in such wild mushrooms interfere with vital organ functions, leading to a rapid and potentially fatal deterioration of the affected individual's health. Number 8, altitude sickness. Heading to the mountains, visiting a city with higher elevation than the one you're used to, altitude sickness is a genuine concern as you ascend to higher elevations, where the decrease in air pressure leads to lower oxygen levels in the body. This atmospheric change can trigger symptoms such as headaches, nausea, and fatigue. And in more severe instances, high altitude pulmonary or cerebral edema can occur, both of which can be fatal. High altitude pulmonary edema involves fluid accumulation in the lungs, resulting in breathing difficulties and bluish tint to your skin. On the other hand, high altitude cerebral edema affects the brain and can lead to confusion, loss of coordination, and ultimately unconsciousness. The exact timeline for survival without intervention varies based on factors such as individual health, altitude reached, and the rate of ascent. Number 7, bitten by a poisonous amphibian. Could old Kermit cause you to kick the bucket? Well, that depends. Encountering such certain poisonous amphibians, such as the poison dart frog, for instance, can definitely pose severe health risks. You see, these creatures carry potent toxins, and even minimal contact can lead to serious consequences. The toxins present on their skin, if transferred to the mucous membranes like the mouth or the eyes, can quickly enter the bloodstream and initiate a rapid physiologic response. Symptoms of poisoning from these toxic amphibians can manifest within minutes of exposure. Things like nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and in extreme cases, respiratory distress or cardiac complications. The potency of toxins varies among different amphibian species, and the severity of the symptoms depends on factors like the amount of toxin absorbed and individual health. Number 6, carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide, or CO, often referred to as the silent killer, poses a very serious threat due to its odorless and colorless nature. This gas is produced through the incomplete burning of gasoline, wood, propane, natural gas, charcoal, and other fossil fuels. And when inhaled, it interferes with the body's ability to transport oxygen. Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning include headaches, dizziness, confusion, and nausea. Prolonged exposure to elevated levels of CO can lead to severe health consequences and ultimately prove to be fatal. Survival without prompt treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning is definitely limited. And of course, the time frame depends on the level of exposure. In severe cases, symptoms can escalate rapidly, leading to unconsciousness and death within a matter of hours. Number 5, severe allergic reaction. Who here watching this has an allergy? Let me know what it is in the comments below. Severe allergic reactions, known as anaphylaxis, are far more than just a sneeze or hives. When the immune system goes into overdrive, triggered by allergens like foods, insect bites, or medications, it can lead to a cascade of very bad symptoms, including difficulty breathing, a drop in blood pressure, and loss of consciousness. The severity of the anaphylactic reaction underscores the urgent need for intervention. Survival without immediate medical intervention for anaphylaxis is tricky. The rapid escalation of symptoms highlights the critical importance of swift action. Administering epinephrine and seeking emergency medical attention are a must. Number 4, caught in a riptide. Living close to the beach myself, I love to swim, but being caught in a riptide, that's a whole other discussion. Rip currents are powerful, channeled currents of water flowing away from the shore. They typically extend from the shoreline through the surf zone and past the line of breaking waves. And they are dangerous because they pull even the strongest swimmers away from the shore. And if caught in one, your survival hinges on staying calm and conserving energy. In fact, if caught in a riptide, the natural instinct may be to swim directly back to shore, but this can be physically taxing and often ineffective. Swimming parallel to the shore helps you escape the narrow pull of the current, making it easier to return safely. Number 3, radiation exposure. Though invisible, potentially severe consequences. For instance, high levels of ionizing radiation stemming from nuclear accidents or deliberate acts can inflict all sorts of damage on cells, causing acute radiation syndrome. Symptoms of this syndrome encompass nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, with severe cases progressing to organ failure and ultimately death. Surviving radiation exposure is contingent on the dose and duration of exposure. In extreme instances, death can swiftly ensue within days. Protective measures, including shielding and evacuation, play a pivotal role in mitigating exposure and enhancing the likelihood of survival. Number 2, scorpion stings. We've all seen them. Freaky looking is an understatement in my personal opinion, and I would not want to be stung by one either. Scorpion stings, particularly those inflicted by species like the Arizona bark scorpion, can have highly toxic effects on the human body. The venom from these stings can induce symptoms within minutes, posing a significant threat, especially to children. The severity of the reaction varies, with some cases leading to life-threatening consequences. Survival after these types of stings hinges on prompt and proper medical attention, and of course the type of scorpion. The deadliest in North America, the Arizona bark scorpion, has been fatal for less than a handful of people since 1964. Although survival is most likely, you definitely have to take your precautions with these envenomations. Number 1, surviving a sinking car. Although insanely scary, in the dire situation of being trapped in a sinking car, swift and decisive action is essential for survival. When submerged, a vehicle typically gives occupants only a minute or two to escape before becoming fully immersed. The primary steps to survival involve unbuckling the seatbelt promptly, breaking or opening a window, and swiftly swimming out before the car is totally filled with water. The impact on the human body during such an incident is multifaceted. The sudden immersion into water, especially if it's cold, can induce a physiological response known as the cold shock response. This includes an involuntary gas reflex and increased heart rate, potentially leading to disorientation and difficulty in maintaining calm composure. Furthermore, prolonged submersion in cold water again can contribute to hypothermia, potentially resulting in life-threatening consequences. But regardless, generally speaking, the timeline for survival in a sinking car scenario is tightly constrained to minutes if one's car fills with water and oxygen is limited. All right. Hopefully, I was able to provide some medical insight on these extreme worst-case survival scenarios based on some of the things I see in the emergency department. While I sincerely hope you never find yourself in such situations, understanding them may increase your chances of a positive outcome. If you found this video educational, please check out this playlist right here for other similar videos. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for me. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.